La da 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 da. La da da da. There's a faint moon glow on this water. A big wooden chair holds me in my thoughts, and everything is going right these days, and I just wanna give it away. There's a river rippling a whisper. The crickets sing their song to the trees. A place like this will sink down in your soul, and you're only gonna want more. It's times like these that make you slow, feel creep, they make you wanna breathe in deep, real deep. Oh, it's time.
But first off, we would just like to say a few words to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. You are the most special friends to us. If you're here tonight, you mean the world to us, and we can't thank you enough for coming here tonight and celebrating this with us. So here we go. We think it'll be fun to tell you how we met. It's a very scandalous story. I was Katie's teaching assistant, and she got a good grade in the class, by the way, if anyone's wondering. And I'm going to let her tell you this part of the story because she tells it a lot better than I do. But Katie, take it away.
Okay, so this our love story did not exactly start as a love story. It kind of started one-sided. So I was a freshman in college at Oklahoma State, and Nick was a senior, and he was a teaching assistant in a class called Style and Structure, and it's a pretty big intro class to the journalism school, and there was a lot of people in that class, and I was coming from a class on the other side of campus. And Oklahoma State's campus is not that big, but when you have one campus on the very end of one side and then the very end of the others, it takes a while to get there. So I only had 10 minutes in between each class, and so I was running to every class, and so I had the worst seat in class. I was at the very back corner of the classroom. It was a very big classroom. It was 150 students in the class, and I was in the very back, and Nick was the TA, and he had 150 students, and everybody knew who Nick Woodruff was. Oh my gosh. When he walked in the room, everybody knew him, and there was this group of sorority girls, and they were not in my sorority, and every time Nick would walk in the classroom, they would go, "Oh, Nick, we love Nick, come here, Nick." And I was so jealous because I had the biggest crush on him, and he had no idea I even existed at the time. I was just a little freshman, and he was a big bad TA, and he thought he was really cool. And so when we actually met, I was in my sorority's singing showcase, and my section TA, I went to her office hours because I went to everyone's office hours in that class. And I went to her office hours one day, and she had actually been at my sorority house the night before judging us. And so she started the conversation off, and she was like, "Oh, Nick, you should meet Katie. Katie, she's a singer and a dancer." And Sarah Feverly, she said, "Oh, you should meet Nick. He's a really good dancer." And so Nick showed me the video of Nick and Jordan at the Carmike Theater in Stillwater, their commercial, dancing, and I was totally obsessed with him. And so at the time, I had on my iPod "You Make My Dreams Come True." On my iPad, I had it playing, and Nick had seen it, and so he looked at my iPod, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, you have really good taste in music." And I was like, I took that to heart, and I remembered it. So the next class, as I was running to make it to class, I made sure to turn on my iPod that song exactly, so maybe he would notice me. And alas, I walked in the class, and he still had no idea who I was. It was pretty. It was a love story from the very beginning. So Nick, do you want to talk about? Where it went from there.
Okay, the reason I didn't act interested, or what I tell Katie, is because I was trying to keep it strictly professional while I was a teaching assistant for this class. And although I remember her coming into my office, I tried to make it a policy where I wouldn't date my students. We all saw how that turned out. Now I'm marrying one of my students. But when I really fell for Katie is the next year, surprisingly, again, I was her teaching assistant in another class for a video production class, and we were responsible for putting on the homecoming parade at Oklahoma State. We did the homecoming parade. And Katie tried out for talent, and she was going to be an anchor for this homecoming parade. And to my surprise, she got on camera, and she totally blew it away. And my friend at the time, he was sitting in the booth with me. I said, "You see that girl right there? I'm going to do everything in my might to marry this girl right here." And he just kind of laughed at me. It's like, "Oh my God, you're so full of bull." And I'm just like, "No, she's got it. I want this girl. I definitely want this girl. I'm going to do whatever I can to do it."
Okay, what he fails to mention to everyone is that he had a girlfriend at the time, and I knew that. So when he started talking to me, I was like, "Nick, this is not appropriate."
No. It is very true. I did have a girlfriend at the time. But anyways, besides that, I decided I would definitely start making my move, and I thought about how I would approach this. And luckily, one day I caught her in the computer lab, and I started talking to her, and I asked her about her scar on her arm. And although it was interesting listening to the scar, I wasn't that interested into the story. I was more interested in just getting her to talk to me. But ended up getting her to talk to me, and we had a pretty good conversation, and, we kind of left it at that. And then a couple of weeks later, we actually ran into each other again in a computer lab, and I really laid down the Mac down on her. And I said, "Every day I see you in this building, you have to give me a hug, no questions asked." And Katie was like, "Should I really be hugging one of my teachers?" But anyway, I was like, "You got to give me a hug every day." And to my surprise, she agreed to it. So I was like, "Oh man, this is awesome." I was feeling really good, and I was feeling my Wheaties after that. I was pretty cocky anyway. You can ask my brother, and I was definitely really cocky after Katie agreed to that. And then I guess it was about a week or 2 weeks later, I catch her again, and I decide that I'm going to get her number. And me being the rebel I was like, I knew she wasn't of age. I said, "Katie, why don't you give me your number, and tonight when I go out to the bars, you can come with me." And she kind of looks at me and she goes, "Nick, I'm 19. I said, "Oh, don't worry about it. I know all the bartenders and stuff. I can get you in." And Katie was just like...
But anyone who knows me knows that I'm a rule follower, so there was no way in heck I was going to a bar before I was 21. So that was kind of an issue, and when he asked me that night to go to the bars, I was like, I lied and said I had some kind of homework or something.
She definitely lied, and it's definitely a strike to my ego, and I was really disappointed because I thought it was starting to work, but again, I had a girlfriend at the time, and I think she was reluctant of that. Still had a girlfriend. And so we moved on a little bit more, and finally, it was the next night, actually, after I got her number. I was like, I'm not going to text her. She can text me first. And she actually ended up having a date party that night, and she texted me and asked me to come out to the date party and join her. And I said, "Of course, I'll come out and join you. I'll come join you at the Tumbleweed." That's where they're having their date party. And once I said that, she quickly changed her tune, and she's like, no, you can't come out. That's against the rules, and Katie follows the rules. And so we weren't able to do that. Another shot to my ego. Still having a girlfriend at the time. And finally, on that Sunday, I know, I was bad. It's horrible. But, it worked out. It worked out. And lastly, I finally get her to agree with me to go out to the lake, and we go parking at the lake, and we just sit and visit. It does sound bad. And here's the most important kicker. We were sitting there. All we did was sit there and talk, but a police officer came and actually knocked on our door and shined a light in our door. So that was a very fun, interesting story. And she was scared to death. She was ready to go home after that. But we had a good talk. We talked for about 2 hours, and after that, I'll let Katie tell the rest of this story because her and her sorority sisters kind of teamed up on me toward the end, and I had to make a move, and I'll let you tell that.
I don't know where I'm going with this, but basically, I told him that I was not going to talk to him again unless that he got rid of the girlfriend because that's not appropriate. And I told him, like, hey, I know you have a girlfriend and you have to make a decision. So the very next day he texted me, and he had broken up with his girlfriend. I'll never forget it. I was at Brahms with my sorority sisters, and I showed them the text message, and they were like, oh my gosh, he broke up with his girlfriend. And then our very first day was actually at our sorority function, Kappa Con Queso, and all of my sorority sisters were standing at the front door looking out the top of our windows to make sure that he was an actual good guy, and we're just there.
So that's the story of how we met. Very scandalous. I was a very bad kid, as you can tell, apparently. And what's really funny about, she got that text when she was at Brahms, and I actually asked for her dad's hand-in approval of marriage at Brahms as well. So Brahms means a lot to us. So of all places. But anyways, that's how we met. So we just wanted to tell that because we wanted to get your guys' reaction, and we wanted to get a good video of it. But now we're going to move on to your mother? Mackenzie. That's where we're going next. So Mackenzie, it is your time.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie Allen. Maid of honor, yes. And Nick and Katie are like brother and sister to me. They helped me out through college. So mine's just short and sweet. I don't have anything too bad on Katie. Because, yeah, we keep that a secret. Our little memories together. So this is what I have. Okay. To Mr. and Mrs. Parrish and to Mr. and Mrs. Woodruff, tomorrow's a special night for everyone here. But it's also a special night because you get to witness your children starting their lives together. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about my wonderful friend, Katie. We met through our sorority, Kappa Kappa Gamma, and became close friends during freshman follies and homecoming. Even during those late nights and stressful rehearsals and getting to pomp thousands and thousands and thousands of little tissue paper through chicken wire, also known as pomping. Yeah, those are long nights under the airplane freshman year. If you've never done pomp, you don't understand the long nights. I realized Katie was kind, considerate, thoughtful, and sincere, and that she would be my friend for life. Nick, I know this isn't news to you. Nick, when you were waiting with a bouquet of flowers after you got back from spring break, our sophomore year, I knew from the way you looked at Katie that you would love and take care of her, take care of this wonderful woman. Someone once said, love is friendship set to music. Or, as the Beatles sang, love is all you need. So please, everyone raise your glasses for the happy couple. So I don't have a drink. Here's my drink. Okay, you gotta give me a hug.
Of course we'll give you
I don't know how to give you a hug, but
That was very good. You almost made me cry.
thank you.
I have a special book that I want to give Katie and Nick. It's the Newlyweds Instruction Manual. A lot of good stuff in here. You guys will enjoy it. I got you highlighters. Nick highlighting orange, Katie highlighting pink. The section on sex is very informative, so you guys can enjoy that. All right, so first off, I had a speech planned out. My wife said no. Nick, you're going to learn a lot more about that. It kind of involves some of Nick's past roommates, but probably wasn't a good idea. So, Steph, you got her to thank for that, Katie, Nick. So, no, we'll stay away from that right now. All right, so they told you their stories, and I didn't realize that Katie was such a stalker, and didn't realize Nick actually committed sexual harassment when he was a teacher. So I just want to say, when that doesn't end up get you in jail, it ends up with marriage. So congratulations, guys. All right, so Katie, I gave you the book because I really can't give you advice. I've been married less than a year. There's a lot of other people who've been married a lot longer here that can give you some good advice. So I got you some reading material. But I do got some stuff that I need to tell you about Nick after knowing him for, 26 years, brother? I think that's it. And I met him, 3 years, 11 months into my life, and I tried to feed him M&Ms to kill him, but he's still here, so everything's good there. But I'm glad, though, Nick, that you're still around, so that's good. All right, so first off, I got 3 things for you. Nick will always protect those he loves. Nick will always stand up for himself and those he cares for, and he will do anything for family. And I have stories about this to share for you guys. First off, he'll protect you, even if it's from my dad. All right. So what do I mean by that? I have a story with this. And for those of you who don't know my dad, he's the loud guy you hear before you see here at the party. All right. So my brother, we were outside. We were in this phase where we were golfing a lot. We'd go out in the yard. We actually learned to replace divots real well because Dad got really mad when we left divots in the yard. But we'd hit back and forth. Well, Nick also around this time got a slingshot. And Nick didn't really know how to use the slingshot. He let go of the wrong end. So when you let go of the wrong end of the slingshot, I want you to just take the visual here. That piece of wood, that wood wire, it comes back and hits you. It knocked Nick right in the eye. He had some blood. He went in crying. Dad immediately thought that I had hit him with a golf club. My dad would have killed me that day. My life would have been over. But fortunately, about the time Dad got to me with the switch that he liked to call Mr. Switch, Nick and I know all about that, Nick was still crying. He goes, "Jordan didn't do it. Jordan didn't do it." He actually admitted that he let go of the wrong end of the slingshot and hurt himself. So he will protect you if he loves you, especially if it's from Dad. So that's good to know. First off, too, this also involves Dad. He'll stand up for himself, as you know, Katie. He'll stand up for himself, but also stand up for you. This goes back to state football championship. Yes, we're going to this story. Nicholas, we had just lost in the state finals. Kenny knows this story. And we were really, everybody was in a down mood, but we had to eat afterwards, and we were going to eat on Meridian Avenue. So most of you who've been in Oklahoma City know Meridian Avenue. Dad, he didn't get to the city much, as you probably could tell, and he decided to call it Marina Avenue. So Nick decided to correct him, and at first, everybody that's there is laughing at this. Dad goes, Marina Avenue, it's where it's at. And he's telling other people how to get there, and he's saying Marina Avenue. So it's important he gets this information. So Nick goes, "It's Meridian Avenue, Dad." Dad goes, okay. Second time, Dad goes, "It's Marina." Nick goes, "It's Meridian, Dad." Well, Nick decided he shouldn't have done that, actually, because Dad kept stats, and he had a clipboard. He took that clipboard and I think hit Nick in the head, 3-4 times? It was pretty good. Nick says it broke, but Nick got away pretty quick. But at the same time, Nick stood up for himself because he knew he was right and he knew it affected other people that he cared for, and he wanted to make sure everybody got in the right place. So he stood up for himself. The last thing is the family part. He will do anything for his family. And part of this involves a cousin that's here. I think it was Gerald. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Nick. But when we were little, about the time you got into football, Gerald was going, "Hey, Nick, I bet you can't tackle your brother." Gerald, it was you, so you can't back out of this now. So we had a big screen, had the TV, and had the case right to the side. So Gerald goes, "I bet you can't tackle your brother." Nick was just getting football. Well, Nick tackled me, went right through the glass pane of the cabinet. Now, I was okay. Everything was good. But Nick was willing to tackle his brother, who was 4 years older, and he was like 8 years old, through a glass pane because he would do anything for his family. So even tackle his brother. So he'll protect you from Dad, and he will tackle me if he needs to, which is good. But Katie, I think what I want to get to here is he's going to be loyal to you first and foremost. I think you know this over the time. He's always going to stand up for you, even if you don't think you need it. He's going to stand up for you. And I think one thing that's good with your relationship, what I've seen, is you both stand up for yourselves, which is very important. And I think that you'll stand up to him, he'll stand up to you when you need it. And I think that's very, very important at times. And then, Katie, I want you to know that you're family. And we talked about doing anything for family. Well, Nick will do anything for you, and I think he's proved that. And even that means tackling me through a glass window once again. He'll do that because he loves you, and as of tomorrow, it's official, but you've been part of this family for quite some time. So I want to end it with this. I want everybody to raise their glasses. Water, whatever you got. Raise your glasses for my wonderful brother and his lovely bride, Katie. And may you both find happiness in this crazy world. Hope the good times come by the many and the hard times never get you down. And most of all, I hope that you two get pregnant first so the rest of the family gets off my rear.
Well, that's going to be kind of hard to follow. Thank all y'all for coming tonight. Bryant, thank you for cooking. All I can tell you is this girl's a mess. I guess the best thing I can say is that we was at graduation. And I couldn't keep up with Nick. He went through women like, I don't know, he had a girl this time, a girl this time, and, you know, we just start liking her. We go to football games, we like this girl, and so we like this girl. Next time we go to football game, it'd be another one. So, well, what happened to that? Well, just didn't. So anyway, Nick was graduating, and he had to be over at Gallagher Alba a little earlier or whatever. And he said, Dad, this new girl that I'm starting to see, said, she'll be over in a little bit, and you be nice to her and everything. I said, okay, all right, well. So here's my brother and my cousin and his uncle, Kenny, and all of us. We're all in there, you know, having a big time like we always are. And bam, 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 here somebody knocked on the door. I said, well, I bet that's that girl. I didn't even know her name. She come in there, and she's all dressed up in a little skirt, boy, and a real white, pretty coat. And boy, she come in there, and she said, hello, I'm Katie Parrish. Hello, I'm Katie Parrish. I said, man, she come in here and act like she's married to a Philadelphia lawyer or something. And so we all talked to her and everything. We thought everything's ready. And everybody knows me. I'm on time. Nick said be at Gallagher Alba Arena at 1:15. We had to be at Gallagher Alba Arena at 1:15. Karen said, it's time to go. I said, let's go. So we all jump up, didn't think nothing about it. And we all head out the door, and all of a sudden, kabam! And we looked around, there's Katie on the ground. She had them high heels on, and she fell out of the steps coming out. And my wife said, well, I guess she's fell for us. So that's one thing I can say about Katie. She's a stylish girl. She's going to look good all the time. That's one thing about Katie. She's a sweetheart, though. Nick's a good boy. I don't know how many times I had to beat his butt off. No, he's a good boy. And all I can tell you is love each other. Because as long as you got love, you got it. And thank the man upstairs. Thank the man upstairs for your health and your family. Because if you don't have no family, you ain't got nothing. And this is your family. And always will be. But when you have kids, do one thing for me. Don't pull a Hillary Clinton. Don't read the Bible and what the Bible says. Don't spare the rod, spoil the child. You make sure you make that kid mine, you hear? Because I guarantee you, when you do that, you'll end up with two like this right here. I guarantee you, these are two good kids right here. And it's because it's the way they was raised. And I want to thank all y'all. Mom, I guess you're next. I said it for you.
Well, first of all, I want to say that I think it is incredibly unfair to make the mother of the bride talk the night before the wedding, but that's okay. I'll forgive you, Katie. I want to say thank you to everyone, first of all, for coming. Gosh, Steve, thanks a lot. We really appreciate everybody being here. And I want to say a huge thank you to the Woodruff family and to the Reeves family, because they came in here yesterday like the cavalry and unloaded, and these tables were up in about 5 minutes, and they have been working ever since, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Just a couple of little quick things. All of the flowers, of course, everyone knows that it's orange and black theme tonight. The vases are from flowers that Nick has given Katie over the years. So all of the vases were from Nick. So we made sure we included a little special things. I knew immediately that Nick was probably going to be part of the family. I knew it from the first text when she said, "Mom, we need to talk." It's like, oh, this cannot be good. And then I think everybody has probably seen the video when he asked her to be his girlfriend. And at the very end, when she says, "Oh my God, you're perfect," I was like, oh gosh. And once we met Nick, we knew we were done. Yeah, that Nick was a part of the family, and we love him like part of the family. Katie, everybody knows Katie. Katie has personality. And but when they got engaged, Katie had said to me she had 3 requests. Only 3 requests. One, that she have a spectacular dress. And I'm telling you, people, the dress is spectacular. So she had picked it out in New York 2 years ago. Yeah. So it's a beautiful dress. Her second request was that she have an incredible pair of shoes. And so the shoes tomorrow are better than the shoes she has on right now. So that was her other request. And her third and final request was that her family was here, and her grandparents and Nick's grandparents, and we are so blessed to have our family and friends here for this wedding. You've come from all over the United States, and we love you all, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And I just want to say that you're surrounded by love, and looking at the people around you and the examples you have of marriage and support, you're going to be okay. And that's all I have to say.
This is awesome. There's one more thing we're going to do. We're going to thank a lot of people who's been here tonight, and we just really thank you guys for being here. We are really blessed, and we knew this was a destination wedding because everyone had to travel. And the only people who didn't have to travel were Katie's parents. And you have no idea how much we appreciate you taking time out of your day and taking time out of your weekend and coming up here and celebrating this with us. And tomorrow, June 4th, this girl right next to me, she's going to be my wife. And we've waited patiently for this day our whole lives. And for many years, praying for each other. It's finally happened. But the preparation for this day didn't start nearly 4 years ago. It started the day I was born, how my parents raised me, how Katie's parents raised her. And we're really excited to share this with you. And we can't thank each and every one of you enough for being here tonight. Make it?
So our cousins, our aunts, our uncles, the friends of the family, our grandparents, and our wonderful parents have all prepared us. You guys have all prepared us for this day, this weekend. Our generation is surrounded by breakup, divorce, everything, and it's become easier and even more normal today to quit rather than to work as a team, and we've both seen that in our lives. But the two of us are a rarity, and our families are a rarity. We have so many incredible couples here that have shown us how to do it right, and how rewarding and how humbling it can be to share a lifelong companionship and to have a lifelong partner. And between the two of us, just in our families, we have more than 385 years of marriage. And that is remarkable. We'd like to recognize some of those couples. And if you would please stand, I know some of your spouses aren't here, but if you'd please stand, we'd really like to recognize the tremendous marriages that have made up our lives. So, Nick, you can start with your side of the family.
Okay, awesome. So, first off, I'd like to recognize my Uncle Sean and Aunt Linda. They have been married for 25 years, so everyone give them a hand. Next, of course, is my mom and dad. So they have been together for 32 years. And then lastly, my grandma and grandpa, Woodruff, they have been together for 57 years now.
And now on my side, my Aunt Carrie and Uncle Tom, they've been married for 40 years. My Uncle Bruce and Aunt Alna, who have been married for 35 years. My Aunt Jennifer and Uncle Bobby, who have been married for 20 years. My mom and dad, who have been married for 30 years this year. My grandma and grandpa Knowles, who have been married for 53 years. And finally, the big one, my grandma and grandpa Parrish, who have been married for... Sorry. They will have been married for 65 years next year. So we really want to thank each of you. You each have played such a tremendous role in shaping who we are and leading us to this day. And we'd also like to take this time to thank, a dear friend of Nick's family, Bryant and April. You guys did all of this, and Bryant, you helped shape Nick to be who he is, and I really appreciate all of your help in making Nick the man he is today.
Yeah, and just going off that, Bryant he's like a father figure to me, really. I started working for him when I was 16, 17 years old, and he worked me really hard, but you know what? He made me learn to appreciate hard work and that you do things the right way, and him and April, we talk about all these marriages here tonight, watching them two work together, when I was growing up. I mean, if there was a model marriage, I would say him and April are really a model marriage. And now I'm crying. And that's something amazing with my life. You look at Uncle Sean and Aunt Linda. Even though Mabry was a surprise, we love her too. But Uncle Sean, Aunt Linda, Mom and Dad, Bryant and April, I mean, just everyone in Grandma and Grandpa, Uncle JD, Aunt Marianne. It's just been incredible watching all of you through this marriage. And the last thing we want to do tonight is we got to take a little bit of time to talk about our parents a little bit, because man, marriages they're tough. I mean, it's one thing my mom and dad. I know. Why am I crying? My mom and dad being raised in that household, they have each other's backs no matter what comes down the line. And if you know my dad, he's a very hard man to live with. And I'll tell you what, everywhere we go, the first thing people talk about is my mom. And if they're like, dang, that must be a damn good woman if she's put up with him for 32 years. And the first one I want to talk about is my mom. And I kind of feel like I got a mixture of both my parents, and I feel like it's really grooming who I am. My mom has always been this patient, loving human being, and she has never met a person that she does not like. And she has showed me how to love unconditionally, love everyone unconditionally, and she is extremely patient. And, you know, putting up with my dad for 32 years, you know she has to be extremely patient. So, you know, Dad pushed me really hard in sports, and my mom, you know, she would always reconcile me, you know, because sometimes I'd miss, you know, some free throws or something, and I'd beat myself up about it. And she would just always tell me, she goes, you know, you can't be perfect. So it's okay to try to be perfect. You need to strive to be perfect, but it's okay not being perfect. And, you know, taking that on and going to college and even in law school, it's impossible to be perfect. And if I was up there trying to be perfect, I wouldn't be where I am today. And my mom has taught me how to do that. And my dad might be my hardest critic, but my mom was definitely my number one fan. She believed I could do anything. When I told her I was going to law school, she really believed I could graduate first in my class. I mean, it was undoubtedly she thought I could do it. When I went to Oklahoma State, she thought I could graduate number one in my class. And, you know, having that support my whole life is incredible. And lastly, one really funny story about my mom. I was playing baseball, and I've always been really close to my mom. And it was a really hot summer day, and my coaches were giving us a hard time, saying, oh my gosh, you know, you guys are a bunch of sissies. And finally they go off and they say, what are you guys, a bunch of mama's boys? And I popped up from third base and I said, hey, I am a mama's boy. Coaches got a pretty good kick out of that. And now moving on to my dad. My dad has taught me a lot of life lessons throughout this time. I get that loving, patient attitude from my mom. And then, you know, she taught me how to deal with insecurities. But my dad is truly, as I've been growing up, I talk to him 4 or 5 times a week. He truly is my best friend. And, you know, it always makes me extremely happy when him and mom call on the phone and I get to talk to him. And, you know, someone I can just call and talk sports with, or, you know, I love hearing, he works for Big Country now, and so he keeps me informed on what's going on out there, and he really is my best friend. And he's taught me how to work hard. And I would not be here today. I would not be marrying this girl today. I would not be in law school today if it wasn't for my dad teaching me how to work hard. And there's one thing on Woodruff Ranch that you know how to do. And you can ask Uncle Sean, you can ask Dylan, you can ask my brother, you can ask my grandpa. When we're working cows, it's a shit show. And I will tell you this right now, we yell at each other like you wouldn't believe anyone would yell at each other. But we yell at each other because we love each other. And we don't, you know, you can get hurt when you're working cattle. And when we yell at each other, we're trying to prevent people from getting hurt or something like that. And being around this family has taught me, you know, just because someone yells at you, it's not the end of the world. And they have taught me how to take criticism. And every job I've been to, they said, man, you know, we really got on to you. We're sorry about that. And I'm just like, God, if you would have been raised on Woodruff Ranch, you think that's really yelling at someone? You don't know anything. And so, you know, seeing my dad and mom these years has been absolutely incredible. Like I said, my dad's my best friend. My mom's my number one fan. And I just love them more than anything in the world. And that's why I'm crying, because it's, you know, Katie's it for me now. But I wouldn't have picked this girl if it wasn't for my mom and dad. I know this is the kind of girl my mom and dad would want me to marry. And so to say our thank you, we actually, we're going to give my mom and dad a present right now. So if you guys would come up, we got something for you. It's just something small. It's coming, don't worry. So we ended up getting them a custom-made blanket, just something to remember me and Katie by. And there's a saying on it that says, you have raised me to be a man, but I will always be your baby boy. And so this is a blanket for them. And then also we got them a picture, and it says, you raised with love this man with whom I will spend my life. He is proud to be your son. I am blessed to be his wife. And Katie got them that. So this is just a thank you for you guys. And seriously, thank you for being the best parents anyone could ever ask for.
Wow. I have no idea how to even express my love and gratitude to the two of you. If I could have handpicked my parents, it would have been you. And, you know, I know you can't do that, but
it would have been the two of you. Firstly, to my dad, there are so many people in this world that aren't even fortunate enough to have a father, but I had the very best one. For my entire life, you've been preparing me for this moment. Thank you for pushing me to be the very best version of myself, even when I can't see it. Thank you for making me run around the neighborhood in Ardmore and not giving me strawberry Gatorade if I didn't beat my time every night. Because it taught me to work hard, and it got me a state title. When I was throwing a fit in the 8th grade in my closet about not having anything to wear to church, thank you for throwing all of my clothes out in the front yard. Because that taught me to be grateful. Thank you for not missing a single dance competition, a voice recital, a cheer competition, or musical. Not only were you and Mom there at every single one, you guys laughed and cheered harder every time. And I know I wasn't that funny. And I'm so thankful for all of that. But the most things that I'm thankful for, Dad, I'm thankful for the way that you have loved my mom. When I was growing up, my dad's friends went golfing or went to go do whatever they wanted to do, but you didn't do that. You were always with Mom. You and Mom have always been partners in life, not a husband and wife. You cooked with her, cleaned with her, went to Walmart with her, did laundry with her, dropped me off at dance class, helped me do my homework. You did everything, not just the traditional things that a husband does. And I didn't understand when my friends' parents, my dads didn't go to Walmart with their moms. I didn't understand what that was. You taught me what a husband can and what a husband should be. It gave me hugely unrealistic expectations for the future and for my future spouse. Sorry, Nick. And maybe that's why I had sworn off guys for so long. But I knew that no one in the world would compare to you. It was those unrealistic expectations that taught me to value myself and wait for the person who would love me the way you've loved Mom. And it led me to Nick. So thank you. And now to my mom. If there's one person in this entire world that needs a huge round of applause, it's my mom. I don't even know where to start. You have loved me better than anyone for my entire life. Not only did you bring me into this world, you've led me through it. You are the glue that holds our entire family together. Never once did I miss a doctor's appointment, dance class, or school because you had our family together at all times. I know that you and Dad are still wondering how exactly you ended up with me. A little blonde-headed princess born into a family of dark-headed engineers. And I'm not so sure that you were ready to do hair or makeup or have Spice Girls sing-alongs, but you did it. I'm not so sure that you bargained for all the sass and the drama. I'm sure that you were still wondering if I was really your child when we traveled all over the country for dance and cheer competitions, when you had to learn how to put on my fake eyelashes or put a web in my hair for cheer, complete with sparkle that wouldn't come out for weeks. But for not being a girly girl mom, you sure have been an awesome one, and I think you've learned to love it a little. You have climbed mountains, run marathons, and flown around the world for me. You and Dad have made countless sacrifices for Tyler and I, probably millions of them, including letting us have dogs inside the house. You and I, we've been through a lot together. 23 years of dance sessions in the car, Mom and Katie movie dates, long nights just staying up and talking about life, many shopping trips, prom dress shopping, musicals, trips to watch Tyler play football, you name it, we've done it together. Mom, you are so much more than a mom to me. You're my lifelong companion, my hero, my role model, and my very best friends. 23 years of calling you nonstop all day. I hope you're ready for 50 more. and we'd like to give you a present as well. On their custom blanket, it says, Mom and Dad, today a bride, tomorrow a wife, forever your daughter. I love you. And from Nick, it says, you held my hand for many years, and though I'm grown and on my own, my heart will always be tied to home.
Okay, can we be done with the sad part now?
It's time to party now. It's over with. We're done. So let's do it.